Inspiring luxury.
And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient.
Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel. Cayman's bigger, better network.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 17th day of April 2024, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, be you a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a belated happy birthday, and to remind you that this segment of the For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shoutout. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traversed the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I need not remind you that For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Of course, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. If you just simply want to follow us on YouTube, you do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And you can also call us on that WhatsApp number as well, 925-3261. If you know anyone who's celebrating a birthday today or any other momentous occasion, please share that with us, and we will give them a shout out here on For the Record. BC Keelan Calendar will be celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well. So we want to wish Keelan a happy birthday tomorrow when it comes. So if you know someone celebrating a birthday today or a momentous occasion or in a few days, or you want to send a belated one out as well, please share those with us. 925-3261. And to remind you that this segment of For the Record, the birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-out. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Also, Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. Meanwhile, let's see what we can share with you. Yes. So this was a release on the 16th of April. And it speaks about, this is for the Brackers, Lehman E. Scott Senior High School hosting their career fair at a new venue. So the Lehman E. Scott Senior High School annual career fair took place at the Aston Ruddy Civic Center for the first time on Friday, the 12th of April. This move to a more expansive venue was necessitated by a surge of interest from local businesses eager to connect with future Caymanian talent. That is good to know. Themed beyond the classrooms, connecting with, the event brought together nearly 200 students from years 6 to 12, including those from neighboring primary schools, with representatives from a record-breaking 37 businesses across the Cayman Islands. Miss Yvette Gale, head of humanities and event coordinator, expressed her gratitude for the event's impressive growth. She's quoted as saying, "We've truly outgrown the usual venue for our careers fair. This remarkable success is a testament to the dedication of our corporate partners and their unwavering commitment to the development of Caymanian youth." She likewise thanked the speakers and the district administration and lands team and all those who worked tirelessly to make the event possible. Notable amongst the attendees was Deputy District Commissioner Miss Chelsea Whitaker, Senior School Improvement Officer Mrs. Tammy Hopkins, and Premier and Minister for Education, Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly. The Premier congratulated the principal and staff on the event's success and encouraged students to actively engage with professionals and explore potential career paths. The career fair also featured welcome remarks by head girl Karishma Saram and the vote of thanks by head boy Aryan Champawat, as well as various exhibitions. So if you want more information on upcoming career programs and activities, you can contact the Department of Education Services, the Career Services Unit at careers@cifec.edu. So good to see that they had this careers fair in an expanded, a new venue, which allowed for expansion and the wide participation as well. Good to see all of the companies participating. We also hope and trust that they put their money where their mouth is and see what can be done to attract talent from the BRAC. We know the limited employment opportunities over there, and what incentives would be given to residents of the BRAC who wanted to work in Grand Cayman but would find it challenging because of the additional costs associated with having to relocate to Grand Cayman as well. We know that there are businesses, organizations, when they hire non-Caymanian staff, they offer additional perks to them. Of course, if they're applying for a work permit, they're required to advertise with the salary that is being offered and any other benefits as well. But we must say also that that is sort of an honor system that is in place. As an honor system, because additional documentation is not required from the immigration standpoint, for that to be provided. But of course, if you put your ears close to the ground, you will hear of situations where persons are attracted to the Cayman Islands by the offer of a vehicle, payment for school fees for their dependent children, relocation, incentives as well, pay for your relocation, maybe help to find you an apartment, or maybe even these days with all of the construction that's taken place, you may find that there are organizations out there who are investing in condos, in apartments to house their own employees as well. And the question would then be, are they also doing that for their Caymanian employees? But it is good to see this fair taking place, and we hope and we pray that attention will continue to be given to those in our sister islands in terms of their education and then moving up the career ladder, their career pathway as well, to all of those attractive jobs that are here in the Cayman Islands, many of which are occupied by non-Caymanians. Folks, time for us to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
A hot topic today, just as it was then, was the political rights of women. Often misunderstood, the Constitution of the Cayman Islands did not disallow the rights to women in regards to voting. Although, as noted by Commissioner Jared, in 1954, women were not excluded from voting, but that custom had always decreed that they did not. Further complications arose when Miss E. Cook Borden signified her intention to stand for election that year. Although the law did not exclude women, it specifically did not also include them, which had the same effect that was born out of an unspoken Caymanian custom. The matter would subside until 1957, when the Caymanian women mobilized to demand their political rights, and after a year and a half of political delays, the Sex Disqualification Removal Bill was passed into law on December 8, 1958.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The Rotary Cayman Islands Sunset $10,000 raffle happening Saturday, May 25th. Tickets only $10, 3 tickets only $25, 5 tickets for $40 from any Rotary Sunset member. All proceeds will support Rotary Sunset community projects including Feed Our Future, the Sunrise Adult Training Center, Adopt a School program, the Marie Martin Georgetown Primary School, the Crisis Center, and many more. The new Rotary Sunset Club. NPO number 656. Get your ticket, get your chance. Rotary Sunset, creating hope in the world.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
You don't need to be great to start, but you sure do need to start to be great. We've all been there. The little put when we try to start the car. Starters and alternators will eventually go. When life happens to your car, Superior Auto can save your day. Superior Auto offers complete starter and alternator repair. Superior Auto, 525-9571 or 949-9570. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
This is For the Record.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. After the 8 o'clock news, we will have the representatives from the opposition, the leader of the opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, his deputy and member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh, will be in the studio with us. We do have a happy birthday greetings going out to Mr. Norman Scott in the Brack, who will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, and birthday greetings are coming from Esther. So tomorrow, Mr. Norman Scott, happy birthday to you, and wishes, birthday greetings and wishes coming from Esther. Folks, I'm going to share this with you because we hear more and more people inquiring and wanting to know what is happening with the proposals for changes to the immigration policy here in the Cayman Islands, changes to the legislation. Bermuda going through a similar exercise as well. And this article speaks to the call for caution on proposals for permanent residents, holders, and as well as retaining the workforce. So the government has been urged to be cautious, that is in Bermuda, to be cautious in consultations on a policy paper to retain the local workforce, including broadening access to permanent residence certificates. Last month, Jason Hayward, the Minister of Economy and Labor, put forward a position paper on the plan in the House of Assembly that includes a raft of recommendations the ministry has put together for public consultation to retain the workforce with greater protection for Bermudan workers. At the time, Mr. Hayward said action needed to be taken to address the falling birth rate and aging population on the island. Mr. Hayward said yesterday that no fundamental objections came from feedback on the consultation process. He called the response from stakeholders, and I quote, positive. Mr. Hayward said he had engaged a number of stakeholder meetings where we walked through each and every proposal, and the stakeholders were able to give their feedback on their support or where they believe the proposal can be tweaked. Feedback from the meeting indicated that across the board, everyone identifies and understands that there is a problem and that it requires a solution. He said there are persons that understand that we need to act now. So they recognize that they need to act with urgency, and added that there has been no fundamental challenges with the solutions being put in place. Mr. Hayward said that there were minor tweaks and additional considerations. We have some people that are cautious and will always ask for additional data and whether or not we can build some protections around some of the policy solutions that we put in place. He also added that you will see what we propose that we are going to implement may not be 100% in alignment with our original position that we put in the policy paper based on and taken on their feedback. Last month, Mr. Hayward invited consultation on the proposals in the solution paper in the hope of harnessing the best ideas from the community and seeking feedback on proposals to retain Bermuda's local workforce for the long-term benefit of our country. The policy paper includes a proposal for non-Bermudan parents of Bermudan children to be able to apply for permanent residence certificate status after 10 years of ordinary residence, down from 15 years. According to the paper, permanent residence certificate eligibility requirements would be reduced to 5 years for those working in certain professions, including registered nurses, chartered financial analysts, certified actuaries, computer engineers, software developers, and certified accountants. Mr. Hayward said the island needed to consider both Bermudians and guest workers, but he made it clear that the proposals included in the position paper did not include a pathway to Bermudan status. So they have not included a pathway to Bermudan status. They're smart. They know why. As a government, we want to see more and better opportunities for Bermudians. The chance to earn a living wage doing meaningful work, the opportunity to enter the most sought-after industries, create new ones, be entrepreneurs and socially conscious contributors to our economy and society. We want Bermudian workers to have a real chance to thrive. For guest workers, we want to give stability and certainty, in addition to fairness and a chance to feel at home in the place where many are raising families and contributing to our community economically and socially. Mr. Haywood said that to retain Bermudans in the workforce, the government would encourage working-age Bermudans to remain on the island, strengthen labor protections, ensure that Bermudians studying abroad return to Bermuda, and encourage the retention of older Bermudians in the workplace as well. So, folks, if we want to, we can, like we have done in the past, we can take a page or some of the paragraphs or whatever, the lines out of the Bermudan strategy. We have similar challenges here in the Cayman Islands as well. I believe their aging workforce situation is much more acute than here in the Cayman Islands. But you know what? In Bermuda, they rely on data. They have the data. We don't hear a whole lot of talk here in the Cayman Islands about the data. We don't hear about whether or not our workforce is, Caymanian workforce is an aging one. We don't talk about the replacement theory in terms of, how we replace our Caymanians in the workforce with Caymanians as well. We don't even talk anymore now about the Caymanianization of the civil service to a certain extent, and we see the figures there in terms of the increase in the number of non-Caymanians in the civil service as well. So while it appears as if we have buried or put on the back burner, put on the shelf, any discussions or any decisions in relation to the immigration issue here in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda is now, while they stalled for a while as well, they're now moving to the fore, with this, as well. One little jab in the side of our parliamentarians before we go to the 8 o'clock news as well. You would have heard in this release that it talked about the House of Assembly in Bermuda. Bermuda, along with Barbados, some of the older parliaments in the Caribbean, they have retained the name, the House of Assembly. And here in the Cayman Islands, we went to the UK seeking constitutional change to rename our Legislative Assembly a parliament. Folks, tell me, what does the renaming of our Legislative Assembly, what does that add to the pockets of Caymanians or to the stature of Caymanians? Just a question I'm asking for a friend. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. Leader of the opposition and his deputy will be in the studio after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Well, Doc, I'm getting old. I'm out of shape, always on edge and off balance.
And how does it make you feel?
I guess it makes me feel like I should live better.
Here's my suggestion.
Are you saying I'm a blank piece of paper?
Turn it over.
Live well? Is this code?
No. Live Well from Foster's and CG Britk. A great resource on staying healthy, decluttering your mind, and managing stress.
Really? And it's free?
Really. LiveWell.Fosters.ky won't cost you a cent. This session, however, live well with Foster's and CG Britk.
We are Radio Cayman, covering Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and Grand Cayman. 1 in a million.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Justice Cheryl Richards is set to conclude her summation of the case of Jeffrey Williams Ebanks, the former chair of the board of the National Housing Development Trust. He's charged with breach of trust and conflict of interest relating to some 60 loads of soil and vegetative matter that was to go to a local nonprofit, and instead is accused of directing it to go to land belonging to him and his father. The judge began her summation on Monday afternoon and is expected to wrap up today, after which the jury of 6 women and 1 man will be sent to deliberate. Mr. Ebanks is represented by Samson Law, who denies the charges, saying he only had an interest in the product after the local nonprofit said they could take no more. A verdict is expected either today or by the end of the week. The primary school edition of National Children's Festival of the Arts continues today after dramatic performances on Tuesday.
I'm the best. That's what my grandma always says. She said I'm smart, and I'm brave, and I'm God's chosen child.
Today, students from schools across Grand Cayman will show off their instrumental skills with soloists and ensembles competing at John Gray Performance Hall in Red Bay Holiness. Thursday and Friday, judging heads to Cayman Brac, where Sister Island students will get their chance in the spotlight. Saturday night features the Amin Mohammed Memorial Steel Band Competition, with final concerts for the NCFA scheduled for next week. Speaking of students, the Ministry of Education recently held a special assembly at John Gray High School to celebrate the 2022-23 Government High School Scholar Abigail Rose. The new initiative recognizes outstanding scholars and their schools, motivating current students and highlighting the dedication of local educators. And finally, classical fans will be in for a treat tomorrow as Music at the Library returns.
Join us for an unforgettable evening as Glennie Nanga, pianist and co-founder of the Cayman Arts Festival, joins forces with the renowned Rodney Marsalis for the first time in the Cayman Islands.
Cayman Arts Festival's Marius Guinet tells Radio Cayman Rodney Marsalis' trumpet mastery, quote, knows no bounds, captivating audiences worldwide with his interpretations and, quote, impeccable virtuosity. Music at the Library is Thursday night at 6 p.m. at the Georgetown Public Library. Tickets are $30 for adults, $10 for kids, and you can catch them at eventbrite.com. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News. Officials in the Ukrainian city of Chernihiv say a Russian missile strike has killed at least 14 people. An 8-story building was badly damaged. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said better air defences would have stopped the destruction. The British Foreign Secretary says it's clear that Israel has decided to retaliate against last weekend's missile and drone attack by Iran. David Cameron and his German counterpart, Annalena Baerbock, are meeting Israeli leaders in Jerusalem to urge restraint. President Biden is considering a big increase in tariffs on imports of Chinese steel and aluminium. As election campaigning intensifies, he'll tell unions representing steel workers in Pennsylvania that he wants the current tariffs to be tripled. The heaviest rainfall to hit the Gulf region in more than 7 decades has continued to cause disruption at Dubai Airport. A clean-up operation is underway across the UAE. The United Nations is warning that improvements in women's reproductive health have stalled, putting at risk 30 years of progress. A UN report says 800 women are dying in childbirth each day, the same figure as 8 years ago. Russia's Supreme Court has overturned a verdict of treason passed last year against a prominent Russian physicist and has ordered a retrial. Valery Golubkin denies handing over state secrets. Officials in Bangladesh say dozens more soldiers from Myanmar have crossed the border, fleeing fighting between the Burmese military and rebels. The actor Hugh Grant says he has been forced to settle a privacy case against a British newspaper publisher. He claimed journalists from The Sun used private investigators to tap his phone and burgle his house. News Group Newspapers denies wrongdoing. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Switch and save with Flow and keep your entire household connected. Whether you're streaming shows, dominating games, or catching up with loved ones, Flow's got you covered. Reliable data in and out of your home? Absolutely. Ready to switch? Visit a Flow retail store or discoverflow.co today. But hurry, offer valid until April 30th. Terms and conditions apply. Flow, Cayman's largest network.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 82 degrees. Relative humidity is 76%. The barometric pressure is 29.95 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east-northeast at 13 knots. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate to fresh northeasterly winds and rough seas expected for the next 24 hours in association with a high-pressure system over the western Atlantic Ocean. Satellite images show scattered low-level clouds over Grand Cayman. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of morning showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s today. Your winds will be east to northeast at 15 to 20 knots, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet. Small craft should exercise caution over open water for today and tonight as well. And the forecast for tonight, pretty much the same, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures dipping to the upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 5 to 7 feet. Today's high tide, we're at a high tide at the moment. Low tide next at 12:52. High tide again this evening at 6:48. The sun will set this evening at 6:42 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday morning.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look this time at traffic on Shamrock Road and Rex Creighton Boulevard, flowing moderately. Further down, different story. as traffic is heavy, some sections steady on Shamrock Road, Linford Pearson Highway steady traffic, and slow-moving traffic heading to Georgetown on Crew Road, and traffic is moderate heading east on Crew Road. Coming off of the Estella Tibbetts Highway, steady traffic. Continuing on to Northtown Road, Industrial Park area, moderate flow of traffic. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, traffic is flowing pretty good. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, moderate flow of traffic in both directions. And as we look to Owen Roberts Drive, traffic is free-flowing. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady traffic, and continuing on to Huldah Avenue. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing pretty good. Have you seen accidents or incidents? Please give us a call here at Radio Kima 949-6990. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
The Rotary Cayman Islands Sunset $10,000 raffle happening Saturday, May 25th. Tickets only $10, 3 tickets only $25, 5 tickets for $40 from any Rotary Sunset member. All proceeds will support Rotary Sunset community projects including Feed Our Future, the Sunrise Adult Training Center, Adopt a School Program, the Marie Martin Georgetown Primary School, the Crisis Center, and many more. The new Rotary Sunset Club. NPO number 656. Get your ticket, get your chance. Rotary Sunset, creating hope in the world.
If you're a parent, you know that providing your child with a quality early childhood education can be expensive. However, the Ministry of Education offers financial assistance through its Early Childhood Assistance Program to help qualifying Caymanian families cover the costs at registered early childhood settings. Visit our online application portal at moeapplications.gov.ky to learn more and get started. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We understand that traffic is slightly heavy out there this morning. A lot of rubbernecking going on as well. So our guests are not in the studio yet. Meanwhile, we do have a birthday shout out that we can share with you. Our birthday happy birthday greetings going out to Tishon Ebanks. And those birthday greetings are coming from his uncle, Tommy Ebanks, and co-workers at TCE Paint Shop. So, happy birthday to Tishon Ebanks, coming from your uncle, Mr. Tommy Ebanks, as well as co-workers at TCE Paint Shop. Well, those of you who were anxious maybe to call in to talk about something, I want to say the opportunity is out there for you to be able to do so while we await our guests. If not, then you know where I'm going to go. To old reliable Trade Winds newspapers, and this one I want to share with our audience because it is extremely. This is a gentleman who a lot of people don't realize contributed, served in our legislative assembly, now Parliament, and contributed quite a bit to the Cayman Islands as well. So in April of 1966, the Trade Winds newspaper reported that this gentleman had attended a London meeting. I will share this with you then. Says that Mr. Burns Ruddy, a member of the Legislative Assembly of the Cayman Islands, that he left for the annual meeting of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in London, England. Mr. Ruddy is a member of the association by virtue of his seat in the Legislative Assembly of the Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands are in their second year as a member of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. So this was in 1966. So we joined the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in 1964 then. Says the purpose of the meeting was, according to Mr. Ruddy, is to instruct all of the delegates in attendance on the 5 points of parliamentary procedure. The course would have lasted from the 27th of April until the 23rd of May 1966. Some of the guest speakers for the course included Barnett Koch, who was the clerk of the House of Commons at that time, Lord Shepherd was the government chief whip, the House of Lords, and the Right Honourable William Deeds, Member of Parliament, lecturing on the subject of Parliament and the press. According to Mr. Ruddy, all lectures would take place at the Houses of Parliament in London as well. So there is a story about Mr. Burns Ruddy representing the Cayman Islands at the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meeting in London after we joined in 1964. I believe that there's also, what else? So while he was on that trip as well, he flew directly to the United States on business prior to flying on to London from New York City. He was a guest while in the United States of Campbell's Soup Company in Camden, New Jersey, a Haynes Company and R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, both in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Of course, Mr. Ruddy, was part of the merchant families here in the Cayman Islands as well. So you can see the connection there. Miss Susan, we want to take the commercial. Continue on? Okay, yeah, I can introduce my guest in the studio. I'm made to understand that there was some traffic on our roads this morning as well. I'm not sure whether or not that will prompt you, Mr. Hugh, to talk anything about road improvements and the traffic situation and how do we go about solving our traffic problems here in the Cayman Islands. So, folks, it is my pleasure to welcome into the studio this morning the Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Roy McTaggart, his Deputy and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, and thank you, OC. It's a pleasure to be back. And a pleasant good morning to everyone out there listening and those in the traffic. Be patient, be careful.
Yes.
it's better to arrive late than never, as we say. And yeah, we could talk about traffic all day long. We'll see. But yeah, good morning and to everyone listening, and it's a pleasure to be back on the show again.
Echo the same comments to OC. Glad to be back with you, and good morning to the wider Cayman Islands, and particularly those of you that are listening from all three islands this morning. Delighted to be back on the show.
Excellent. So where do we start?
Well, I was interested in listening with what you were saying. I didn't catch it all. Clearly, it was of a political nature. Just wondering, is there anything that we could discuss off of that? I was listening keenly as I came in and sat down as to what you were reading about Mr. Ruddy.
Yes. I think we fail to recognize the contributions that Mr. Burns Ruddy made to not only the economy of the Cayman Islands, but also, in our legislative assembly as well. And I think one of these Trade Winds newspapers, in one publication, they actually did a profile of him as well, and I'll try to find that at some point in time and on one of the shows to highlight that as well. But so he attended. That was 2 years after we joined we joined them in 1964.
Yeah, that's very interesting. The actual timing of it. But yeah, I would echo what you have to say about Mr. Ruddy and his contributions. He is probably in his 90s today, and still very much active. In the family business and stuff. So I mean, huge contribution. He's one of our nation builders.
Yeah. And at one point in time, I think he managed Kirk Plaza when Kirk Plaza when they opened the new store on the site where First Caribbean is now, and was the former site of the home of Mr. Ernest Panton.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right. And also worked with the Merins, I believe. He managed the the Pageant Beach Hotel.
Yes.
He managed that for several years, because that's where our family and his family became really great friends, because he was managing Pageant Beach Hotel, and my father was managing the yacht club. Right next door.
Yes.
So as young kids, we went down there almost every day in the afternoons while my dad was at work, and we'd take off and go and play there on the beach. And his young children, we would always meet up and play there on the beach there at Pageant Beach. So yeah, long history with that family.
Yeah. And talking about the Kirk Plaza site there, Mr. Hugh, we had an opportunity to talk about that pear tree in our former residence yard there, where McDonald's and the office is located now as well. That pear tree has a real storied history.
Yes, and unfortunately, it still remains very popular as a pear tree. It's very difficult to get any pears off.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, that entire site over the years, at my age, I watched that area evolve. From being a child sitting in the car waiting on my father to conduct the day's business at McDonald's, and then later on working there, and being able to just run across the parking lot to Kirk Supermarket and pick up whatever we needed for the restaurant in the mornings and stuff like that. And big open, at the time, in the early days, big open, unpaved parking lot.
Yes.
We shared with just maybe, I think it was like a 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot wall between us and Kirk Supermarket at the time, where everybody used to sit on that wall in between. And it was a center of commerce for many, many years. That's where all the construction workers gathered on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock to be paid, and the guys would do their banking in town, park at McDonald's or Kirk's, go get the cash from the bank, walk over and pay everybody right there. I guess you can't do that now. You'd get robbed if you tried to.
And days prior to that if you wanted to ride, out of town, you came into town and you wanted to ride, that was almost like the bus stop.
That was a hub.
Kirk parking lot there. Yeah,
that was the center of town. I mean, everything used to happen. If remember the very first Badabanu, which was done by the Rotary Club, was actually meant to be like a costume competition. And the stage was at Carp Supermarket, Carp Plaza, yeah. And right in the front there, they had to build the stage up, and the folks went up in the costumes and everything. So that's where all activities used to happen right in that area. Yeah.
And they along with By Right were the first ones. I remember that Kirk's that sign that they had there.
The wall, mm-hmm.
Sign of something else. So those old days. But. We've moved on.
and yes, and that's, it was a discussion I had with someone over the weekend, and we can't go back. We certainly can't go back in Grand Cayman. We can certainly plan the future of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, which I think is extremely important. Learn from our lessons here in Grand Cayman, our very recent history. But here in Grand Cayman now, it's about, how do we maintain the standard of living and for our people, maintain our economy, and manage the growth going forward. Because we can't keep looking back. We can look back when we talk about Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, and we can look back at Grand Cayman. Grand Cayman, we can't look back. We need to start understanding where we are, making tough decisions about who we want to be, continue to be, and then manage that growth in that direction. But certainly, it's the old days are now for reminiscing.
So what would it take then for us to be successful in terms of looking forward? Because we keep hearing, some critics, some pundits talking about the fact that we need a proper development plan.
Yeah.
And if we develop one, how can we go about adhering to that as well?
But that's the key. The development plan has not been reviewed since 1997. And the law actually calls for it to be reviewed every 5 years. Now, we were on the verge of starting the review of it under the Plan Cayman umbrella when COVID hit. And we thought that it was too important. We almost did we were going to do West Bay. Just a quick history, we had divided the island up into 5 sections. And you would do one section a year and start over the following year. So you accomplish abiding by the law by reviewing it every 5 years, because you do one section a year over the 5-year period. The beauty about that is that if at the end of 5 years, you don't have to go back to West Bay Road again. If you start with West Bay Road, for instance, and then you do Bodden Town next. And at the end of the 5 years, Bodden Town is still growing at a rapid pace. West Bay Road has slowed down. You can actually just go back to Bodden Town. You don't have to go back to West Bay Road. So, you don't, it doesn't, that zone, it won't take every 5 years. You could be back to a particular zone in 2 or 3 years. So it gives you that flexibility. But that is the foundation of everything else. And the Plan Cayman at the time, we had just completed the National Tourism Plan. We had just completed the Elderly Persons Policy. We had just, the NCC had just been done constantly. So it took all of those laws and plans and policies and combined them into one framework for the development plan. And then once you have a development plan, then I think it's important, and I really believe I was pushing for, as minister, is a national infrastructure plan, a roadmap for infrastructure, because whilst we keep pulling these things out of the air and this minister thinks it's a good idea and the government thinks it's a good idea, there are things that we cannot ignore. We cannot ignore the prison and the need for the redevelopment of the prison. We cannot ignore public transport and the need for public transport, as we were talking about traffic this morning. We cannot ignore the development we're going to need for our health services authority. The police, things like that. We have to, and housing, but we have to take those things and plan those over, develop a strategic plan over a period of years, and rate those amongst importance, that incoming governments and government after governments can say, as part of our national infrastructure plan, this is what needs to be done. And you can give it some flexibility, but coming back to the original National Development Plan, you said, you asked the question, how will that affect our growth in the future? Well, it's the law. It guides the planning department. It guides the planning board. And this is the issue that they're facing right now, is that they're dealing with a 27-year-old law, or 27-year-old law that they have no flexibility with. Where they're being pressed or had been pressed to make certain decisions based on the environment, they couldn't do that because they would be breaking the law and setting a precedence that then you could also, or another government coming in, could break the law or bend the law for building heights or setbacks or anything of the nature. So you have a situation where we are working with a plan that's way outdated for Grand Cayman in particular. And we are seeing, as they say, and they cast blame on governments or whoever what we're considering runaway development. It's not runaway development, it's unplanned development. And we can't, you can't blame an investor. If the investor says and the law says I can build X amount in this spot and this setback and do this and do that, then they're going to do it. Right? Because they are in this thing to, some are there to develop, to help the country. Some are there, but all of them, at the end of the day, need to recognize a profit. And where they see an opportunity to make a profit, they're going to do so under the law. And so it is so urgent. It is so unfortunate that we're 1 year away from the elections again, the end of the term for this government, and we are nowhere closer. I understand they have taken Plan Cayman and taken parts of it, and I think they're now going to do 9 zones, I heard.
Yeah.
They're going to do it in 9 zones now, and it all has to go back through the cabinet and caucus and everything else again, and then go to public consultation. I don't see it happening before the end of the term. And I don't think it's going to be a priority either as we get closer to the election.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, if we can talk a little bit more about that. And you mentioned the fact that, elections are going to be next year. We're going to have elections. And what government policies are we likely to see between now and then, bearing in, I shouldn't say bearing in mind, with the question mark being, will the current makeup of the government, the current composition of the government, will they be running as a political entity or not? And if they are running as a political entity, will that influence then the way that they're looking forward in terms of between now and the next election and beyond as well?
We could answer that in 2 words. Nothing and no, but we can talk about it more.
We'll talk about it when we return. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Hey Cayman, this is Pastor Elsony Banks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past, and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit Christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
This is For the Record.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. So, gentlemen, to get your viewpoint in relation to policies moving forward, bearing in mind that elections are due next year, what you see as the commitment from the current government, whether or not they will be running as a collective entity or running as individuals, will that determine the policies, the long-term policies that we are likely to see between now and then?
Well, I would just give my view on it initially. OC, my view is really you're not going to see any real hard policy decisions taken between now and the election. Mm-hmm. We're getting too close to it now. I know for many of them, they're they're thinking now in terms of April 2025 and their fight for re-election in their district. So the policies that you're going to see, I think, coming through this government between now and then are going to be largely non-controversial, and they're going to be designed towards dealing easy policies, I would say, that would gain favor from the voting public. That's probably the best way I could put it. So are they going to be together as and contesting it as a group? I don't believe so. You may find one or two of some of them doing it, but all of them collectively, not a chance. So that's my view with regard to it in terms of where they are right now. Since Miss Juliana has become premier, we things seem on the face of it, things seem to really have settled down in terms of anything coming out of the government. But to me, it's just gone completely the other way of the pendulum. You're not hearing nothing from the government, and it's quite noticeable. And I mean, here we are now. We are in April, and the last meeting of Parliament was in January, February, that time frame. But as far as we can see, and as far as we are aware, there is no business from the government that is there to come before the Parliament. no legislation. Let me take it back. There is one piece of legislation that was the supplementary appropriation bill that was circulated, I would say roughly maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
So that we got that that bill that is to come, but that essentially is nothing more than a cleanup exercise, because we had that spending had already come to the Parliament in the form of a Section 12 bill for approval. So we had already examined those in probably as much detail as we at the time certainly felt to do so.
And what's the Section 12?
Section 12, that's the that's where you bring you seek supplementary approval for supplementary expenditure from the Parliament prior to making the spending. So remember, we have the Section 11(5), which the Cabinet can make the approval, and then you have Section 12, in which they bring a formal bill to the House for approval. So that's largely already been accomplished. So there's really no business that I'm aware of that's ready to come down. No bills have been circulated or published, and so who knows? They've been very quiet about it, and when they come back to the House, as the opposition, we would like to get our business done as well. So but we seem to be completely hamstrung as well by the process.
And your business would include
getting questions on the floor and getting them answered, getting private members' motions debated and considered by the government. That's the rule, the business of the opposition.
Yeah.
And I know that Mr. Saunders will have his private members' bill, which is the one on consumer protection, that he withdrew it at the last meeting to amend it and bring it back. So to me, it's just totally unsatisfactory the way things are operating, and there just seems to be no end in sight with regard to it.
Okay, Mr. Hugh?
Yeah, no, I echo the sentiments of the Honourable Leader. It's obvious that, well, first of all, I don't think we will see the current construct of the government,
the UPM,
UPM running as a group. It is obviously apparent to us, and from what we're hearing, is that whilst things have settled down in the chambers of the caucus and cabinet, there is still the real issue of not coming to consensus on major policy matters. And I think what we are seeing now is where they've had we had last year an SPS, a strategic policy statement, and a budget passed at the end of the year. We had concerns, at the end of the year that the budget really didn't match the SPS, and we had concerns about some of the grandiose schemes and spendings that they were going to have. But at the end of the day, people ask, why did we vote for it? And the reason was that late in the day, if we had voted against it and the budget failed, it would have brought the country to a standstill. Our preference at the change when we saw the construct of the government change was for them to bring a temporary budget for 3 to 6 months and then take their time and work through and create a budget, a meaningful budget, that match their strategic policy statement. What I believe is going to happen now is that ministers and members are going to scramble around to look within their constituencies as to what can they achieve, or within their ministries even, as to what can I achieve. They're going to say to their chief officers, they're going to bring in their different portfolios and say, where are you with this and this and this and this? Can we get this done by the end of the year? Because realistically, that's all they have. Once you break for Christmas, the mood changes in the government administration building, and if things aren't going as well as they would like at that point, it's almost pencils down and just waiting until elections and a new government to come in and right or wrong, some persons in the civil service, you know, they get to the point where they're like, well, why put all this effort in if in, you know, the house would be prorogued in February, right? Why put all this effort in if, you know, I'm going to put all this effort in and then a new government possibly will come in May and scrap everything. So they start to pack their boxes and clean up their offices and wait to see the outcome of the election to find out who their minister is going to be and whether they're still going to be the chief officer in that ministry, which is you know which is unfortunate from their perspective. And even from the country's perspective. But I have a feeling that's what you're going to see. My concern, and something that we as an opposition will keep a close eye on, is these Section 11.5s. And, you know, where monies that the country and we all voted for and monies we thought were going to particular things that we may have fought for, supported, appreciated and agreed that and voted for, that was a good cause, that those monies are then taken
can be diverted to
other projects that would suit them from a political standpoint.
Okay. We're going to take a commercial break, folks. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for The Record. We'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britk. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Hey, K-Man, this is Pastor Alcini Banks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past, and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
You know what I love to do with my family? Go fishing. I can put the bait on and cast and reel the line all by myself. My mommy and daddy say when they were little, there were plenty more fish to catch, but now there are lots more people fishing, so it's harder to find them. That's why we have marine parks now. They set some areas aside so the fish there can have babies and grow bigger. Then they swim out to other areas where I can catch them. Having the marine parks means there will still be fish there when I'm grown up and fishing with a family of my own.
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, and his Deputy and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. Earlier on the show this morning, I shared with our audience an article in the Royal Gazette, Bermudan newspaper, and they have a consultation going out now that's taken place now in relation to the holders of or those persons qualifying for permanent residence certificates, reducing the number of years that the parents of a Bermudian child need to reside in Bermuda before they qualify for PRCs, reducing it from 15 to 10 years. Here in Cayman, we had some committees, established in relation to looking at our immigration laws. This current government, previous governments as well, including the progressives, people feel that they have failed to properly address the issue. One example that I would give in that regard would be older Caymanians, when they talk about the job environment and their ability to get jobs, when they reminisce, they talk about their old bosses, how good their old bosses were. There were the days when you could leave one job today and tomorrow you were into another job simply because the job opportunities were there and the population which was much smaller. If you talk to the Caymanians now, the younger Caymanians who are in the workforce, many of them will tell you of their experiences that they're having, not pleasant experiences in terms of the way that businesses are operating, the way that they're treated in their businesses. If you talk to aspiring law school graduates who have done their articles, if they're fortunate enough to get a company to give them articles, and this doesn't relate to all law firms, because some are very proactive in terms of their articleships and then employing the young Caymanian lawyers afterwards, but many of them are struggling as well. I feel that the upcoming generation who are going through these experiences are not going to be kind as we were, or as kind to any government which does not address the pressing immigration needs, especially in particular to employment of Caymanians and opportunities, for Caymanians, especially those who have paid the price, have either financed themselves through school or through government scholarships or otherwise, but feel that they still have to struggle in terms of getting a job. How can that be addressed? What can future governments, and if the progressives were to take the reins of government, how is it going to be addressed? Because immigration, employment, the workforce, Caymanians in the workforce, that is the huge elephant in the room in the Cayman Islands these days. I know that was a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to get everything in at one time.
But I'd preface my comments to OC by saying immigration has been an issue as far back as I can ever remember. From my own days of growing up in Cayman and finding ways of finding employment, after graduating from high school. So not high school, but university, coming back to Cayman to work. The question I would have really at this point is it the system failing us, or are people failing us? Or is it a combination of both? I I just don't know. But, you know, the situation, on the face of it, the situation, it ought to be easy still for Caymanians to find employment, given what you are seeing in terms of the sheer growth that is taking place in the country. And it's one of the things any government looks to, I think, you know, in terms of how your country is growing, to, you know, that will guide policies as well as to what they're able to do and accomplish as the country continues to grow. Because if you look at it, the you know, population now is well into the 80,000, that bracket, 80 to 90,000. I think last I heard was somewhere in the region of 85,000. So we're getting fast towards 90,000 people in this country. There probably is, in fact, I'm fairly certain there's a need to review it right now, because what was fit and for purpose 10 years ago probably isn't today. And we probably need, I would suggest that one of the things we would do would be to convene a complete review of the immigration law as it presently exists and see what can be done. Because in this kind of environment where, you know, jobs would appear to be plentiful in terms of what you're seeing in terms of growth in work permits.
Exactly.
Then Caymanians should not have an issue with it. And I would just say, I would question too, right now I think the unemployment stats for Caymanians is at an all-time low, if I'm not mistaken, with the last labor force survey report that was done. It was somewhere in the 3% range or 3.5% range, which we just hadn't seen in probably decades, or certainly more than a decade. Because I remember when we came into power in 2013, Caymanian unemployment stood at 10.5%. So where it has gotten to today, it certainly seems as on the face of it that the numbers would suggest that it isn't as much a problem as it might have been a few years ago. So I think it takes a holistic look at it, because there may be other reasons or other issues. Is it an issue of not being able to find a job, or is it an issue that person can't find the job they want, or, you know, some other issues that might be affecting employment? So I think there's a real need for it.
And in relation to the unemployment numbers, I mean, we rely on an economics and statistics unit for that, but it's so difficult, you know, to sort of like to pin a number on it. One example I would use, for instance, the Jobs Cayman website that Work has there. All companies are required to advertise through the Jobs Cayman portal. They can advertise elsewhere, that is optional for them, but they must advertise on the Jobs Cayman portal. Ignoring the technical issues that particular site has, and they're working on that, many persons at the professional level are simply not going to that website to apply for jobs, or, you know, it's not happening. You know, you're seeing now, for instance, where Caymanians are now going out to employment agencies to try to get, apply for jobs through them, because they're the ones that are being used as the intermediary between the employer and the employee and the various immigration boards in that regard as well. But we've reached the top of the hour, but we want to stick to this because I believe that this is going to be one of the central themes during the election period, and it is either going to motivate Caymanians to go to the polls, or in some instances they're going to say, why should I go to the polls when nothing is being done for me? I think it's going to be a central theme in the upcoming elections. That's why I believe it's so important. Yeah. Folks, top of the hour headline news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, This is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
48 volunteers removed 50 bags of marine debris from Cayman Brack's coastline this week. That's about 500 pounds of garbage. The event was hosted by Plastic Free Cayman. For more information about upcoming cleanups that you can join, head to their Facebook page. Russia's military death toll in Ukraine has now passed the 50,000 mark, according to the BBC. In the second 12 months on the front line as Moscow pushed its meat grinder strategy, the BBC found that the body count was nearly 25% higher than in the first year. BBC Russian independent media group Mediazona and volunteers have been counting deaths since February 2022. New graves in cemeteries helped provide the name of many soldiers. BBC teams also combed through open source information from official reports, newspapers, and social media. And the UK's David Cameron has urged Israeli leaders to do, quote, as little as possible to escalate tensions in the Middle East on a visit to Jerusalem. The UK Foreign Secretary met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during his visit today. Israel has vowed to retaliate after Iran's unprecedented missile and drone attack at the weekend. Lord Cameron urged Israel to limit the scale of its response over fears it could lead to a regional, wider war. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have the Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. We're talking about immigration policies, as well, seeking their feedback on some of the pressing issues. And one that I feel is going to be, on top of the agenda, as far as discussions and people's decisions in the upcoming general elections, which are constitutionally due to take place by May of next year.
Yeah, April. I think we were talking about that earlier. The elections office, Mr. Wesley Howell, he had mentioned a date that they were aiming for April 26th.
Okay.
But we know that can change and can be moved. The governor has the powers, I think, to delay it as late as June, is what I found out yesterday. But we'll see what we see happening in first of all, I do believe that and I agree with the leader that there needs to be a review of our immigration policies. It's these things should just simply happen from time to time to keep pace with where the country is and where the economy is at. Because if we look at Bermuda, as you mentioned, Bermuda is having real financial difficulty as a country, and a part of that they have realized was their very stringent immigration policies, and they've had a brain drain. Companies are leaving there, coming to places like Cayman and otherwise. And so they're now relaxing their immigration policies to try and attract back. Because guess what? If you're an accountant, you can sit and complain that you're not making partner, or you're not getting the better jobs or whatever. But if the firm leaves, you don't have a job at all. And that is a delicate balance that we have to strike as a country. Around the world, you just need to look at United States. You need to look at what's happening in Asia, look at what's happening, over in the Middle East with the wars, but with immigration, and migration of people and the hundreds, possibly thousands of refugee camps across the world, including in Mexico and United States and other places. Immigration has been and will continue to be emotive and controversial just by nature. Just by nature.
Yep.
And it's striking that balance, even as big as a country as the United States is, striking that balance between immigration and the economy. Because you can get up there and say, build a wall, shut it down. But then and you're going to get a lot of cheers in the background. They're going to lift you high in the air and applaud you. And then 1 year later, when the economy is failing, they're going to point the same fingers right back at you and said, you've destroyed our lives. You've destroyed our economy.
And if I may interrupt there to say that while there is some applauding on one side, on the other side, there are people who are saying, listen, we need the type of labor that these immigrants bring, with them, because we can't fill them, by workers in the United States, to a certain extent as well. Yeah.
So I say all of that, OC, to say that I do believe we should review our immigration laws, like all of our laws. We were talking about planning laws earlier, so that we keep pace with the growth of the country and where we are in the economy. So it brings me to the point that I believe that the issue we are facing here, because we all know, it is quite often, it is quite difficult to get a position when returning from university, even those that thought that they would be able to get a position at government right away with their qualifications. There seems to be that hurdle, and I think as a government, we could set up an agency that would assist Caymanians in that regard. We reviewed it, and we're tracking those in the medical field when we were in the government. We had a list. We knew where they were, what year in university, what they were specializing in. And the plan there was through the Health Services Authority to ensure that we find placement or assist them in their next steps of getting the necessary internships, whether it's at in Jamaica or elsewhere. So, I think that we can do that with our students returning home. That is something that we should be able to do. There should be an agency to assist them with that, and possibly it should be Workforce and Employment, a subsidiary of that or so forth. So it comes down, then leaves me to think that what is missing is enforcement. What is missing is enforcement. And we have, I want to also raise a point that I have raised as long as I've been in politics and prior to being in politics, even when I was chamber president, is that we do not know anything about our Caymanians. Because we do not pay tax, we, the government, know nothing about our Caymanians. We know everything about a work permit holder, and we can make decisions based on all of the knowledge and the facts that we have about a work permit holder. We know where he or she lives. We know any of their medical issues. We know how much their salary. We know their blood type. We know everything about a work permit holder. We know nothing about our own people. Right? Even getting our own people to do the censuses and the ESO, including myself, because every time they knock on my door, it's always at the most inconvenient time, and to do a survey with you. But that's all we rely on. And there is one place, and I keep saying it, and I know it would take a bit of work and possibly legislation because of data protection, etc. But pensions, because the only people that don't pay pensions are not the ones we're concerned about, right? They have already reached a age or a salary threshold. But pensions is where all the information is. And if we could use the data from pensions, and in fact, if there was greater correlation between or cooperation between work and pensions, to ensure that, which I don't understand, because to ensure that you simply take a list of persons on a full-time work permit, and you go to pensions office and you say, show me, are they receiving pension? Not 1 year later when somebody is applying for a renewal of that work permit, and then they say, oh, okay, now I've registered them for pensions. And then 3 months later, they stop paying the pension. Right? This is how we can find out. In my constituency, we're struggling with all sorts of things. People setting up bars to survive. People, we got barbershops in everybody's backyard. We got, all these little illegal businesses people are doing to survive and make some extra money. But where is their full-time job? And who's paying their pension and insurance? So, it's for me, it's getting a better understanding of where our people are, what positions are our people fulfilling, and then also enforcing those that we have welcomed to the island, have issued permits for, because someone has expressed a need and a desire to employ that individual. We also look at some of the, so that is my issue, because as a leader actually pointed out, there are different levels of discontent within the Caymanian workforce. There are those who are employed but feel that they've hit a glass ceiling. There are those who are employed but have unemployed friends or family and see persons coming in, getting a work permit that they feel that their friend or family could do. And what I have noticed, OC, because we spend a lot of time as representatives trying to help people find jobs. The vast majority of the HR individuals, human resources managers in this country are Caymanian. They are Caymanian. And they will say to me, yeah, this position is open, but Joey, I have 6 or 7 very well qualified Caymanians already applied for the job. I mean, that is the response I get. And in one instance, in trying to assist someone, when I called one company, I said, yeah, but I got so many qualified persons, and that's company A. So then I call company B. Company B say, yeah, I just hired the person from company A. Right? And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I call another job and they said, oh, yeah, we just filled that position with the person from company B. That's a real story. So I spoke to 3 HR officers, and the Caymanian employee moved from position to position to position. They just shuffled around, right? So those are in the situations where we have a glass ceiling, and we're basically talking about white-collar jobs now. That's where the enforcement, the audits, the thing, that's where we need to pay attention to. That's the numbers we need to look at.
And one has to question, too, those Caymanian HR, whether they're managers or whatever, how much say do they have in the final decision in terms of whether or not a Caymanian is to be hired, as opposed to someone that the company is either applying for the grant of a work permit to the fact that they may have had a temporary, or for the renewal of a work permit as well? How much clout does that Caymanian HR manager have in the final hiring process?
Well, then we have whistleblower legislation. You know, again, we have control of our own destiny here, right? We have whistleblower legislation. So if that is the case, then see something, say something. You know, when we get to the lower end of the spectrum, minimum wage has a lot to do with it. It does have a lot to do with it. If minimum wage had kept pace with inflation, I don't think you would see as much need for the amount of work permits that we've seen recently. I don't think so. I believe that persons, and understanding as well, that when minimum wage moves up, all other salaries have to move up. All right, so it's going to be very difficult if minimum wage goes through now at $8.75. It's not just the $8.75 the minimum wage worker gets, because now he's going to be, the distance between him and his supervisor has to stay as well. So the supervisor has to get an increase in salary. And then the supervisor's manager then has to get an increase in salary.
Now, what happens, some people will argue that there are many companies out there that are paying more than what the minimum wage that
they
is
are.
being
They are. But there are many that are not. And in this instance, and I'm not arguing the number, OC.
Right.
But in the instance where minimum wage grows with inflation, it is truly one of those instances where the rising tide floats all boats, because everybody has to move with the wage increase. And then we have to ensure that we have enforcement. Enforcement, because there are people out there now paying below minimum wage. There are people out there that have work permits that are running around daily looking for work.
Yeah, that's
right. This is happening. This is a real thing. There are people in my constituency doing barbershops and selling clothes and stuff because their employer does not have any work for them.
Yep. We have to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold, I believe. We will take the calls when we return.
I'll
wrap up and then take them. Okay. Right. So we're going to take the commercial break. Callers, hang in there. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? But guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
Get ready to laugh till your belly hurts. The Laughter Lounge Comedy Show is back at Camana Bay Cinema on Friday, April 19th. Doors swing open at 9 p.m. and the laughs kick off at 9:30 p.m. We've got comedians including the hilarious Daphne Springs from L.A., Joel Byers from Atlanta, and Alfred Kanga hailing from Dallas and Zimbabwe. Brought to you by Laugh K-Man. You do not want to miss the funniest night of the year. Tickets and info at laughkman.com or call 326-4510.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 14th. The surveys seek to collect information needed to answer these questions. How did the economy perform in 2023? In 2023, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. I just want to say to our callers, our panelists just want to wrap up on some of the things that they're saying, and we will be taking their calls. So please be patient with us. Mr. Hugh?
Thank you, O.C. I was just speaking before the break about some of the challenges, those in the blue collar, the workforce. You know, one of the issues that I run into quite often with our young people in particular is the issue of drug testing. Previously there was an issue with confusion on the police records. The expungement board has helped quite a bit in that sense. But some people still have that hurdle. But the drug testing is a major issue. And, most companies have mandatory drug tests. And once they ask you in the interview, do you use drugs? And you say, yes, I smoke marijuana, you're immediately disqualified. I just want to put a pin there because the issue is that marijuana is still illegal. And companies are liable in accidents, etc., if the person involved tests positive for alcohol or marijuana, right? So the problem is you can always tell when somebody's drunk when they show up to work, but you can't tell if somebody's under the influence. You can't really tell if they're under the influence, and they may seem absolutely normal, but if there is a major accident or something and they are tested to be positive, then you have an insurance issue. You have a real insurance issue. So that is a stumbling block for a lot of Caymanians. We have to accept it. The use, recreational use and medicinal, some people think that it's legal medicinal so they can do it without getting a doctor's letter because they have headaches. But no, you need to have a license to use it medicinal. But it is widely used. Recreational marijuana is widely accepted amongst the young people.
Yeah, more and more so nowadays.
Right? And this is becoming a real hurdle, creating a real hurdle for them to get into the workforce, amongst other issues. Then we look at what has happened recently, OC. The ESO report that came out showed a growth in the economy of about 4%. Right? Sounds good. A lot of that was attributed to tourism. Because remember the benchmark is 2021, 22. So you didn't have far to go because that was COVID time. So we can't celebrate 4% growth when you're coming from such a low benchmark.
Yeah. And many jurisdictions, what they're doing, they're looking at the pre-COVID numbers and comparing where we are now to the pre-COVID rather than the COVID.
Then you take and in the same period, you saw an 11% increase in work permits. A lot of that is construction, the lower end of things, right? That's almost 5% of the population if you put the population at 80,000. Right? So you had a 4% increase in the economy, but an equal amount of increase in population. Therefore, that increase has been watered down. To put it in layman's terms, you had a 4% increase in the size of the pie, but you had 4% more people enjoying the pie. So and then you put on top of that the strain on the infrastructure and the economy, and then all of the external things. We can't point the fingers at the government for everything that's happening. They didn't have control of the increase in fuels, the increase in foods. Those are not all. These are things that the entire world are experiencing. I just traveled to Miami the other day, and I was just blown away by, we go to a restaurant, a bottle of water is $20 for a bottle of water, and then they put service tax on top of that. Right? So those are out of their hand. But the real issue here, for me, is enforcement, knowing where our Caymanians are in the workforce, and managing, and as I said, that the increase in, I believe that if we had kept pace with minimum wage and the inflation, I believe you would not see as many persons on the minimum wage coming in for work permits. Yeah. But I do believe that it is time that we don't shut the gates, but we have to do a better job of ensuring that those who are coming in to work in our country, of course, have, the police records, etc. They're the type of resident we want. But there is a real need for that person.
So we have to be better gatekeepers.
Better gatekeepers, and we also have to ensure that person is receiving the salary that they were told they were going to receive and is doing the work that they said that they were going to do. We could talk about it all day.
Well, I just wanted to pick up briefly on one of the things that my deputy mentioned with regard to the growth in the economy of 4%, the labour market growing much faster than the overall economy. So that means the work to get where we are in terms of economic activity is being done by more people. So it means the wealth being created or the economic activity being created is being spread among more people. So what it suggests is that the standard of living is going down. And I raised that in Parliament, I think back in December when we're debating the budget, because the numbers are showing something is going on. Now, I don't know what it is, but something is happening because these things are diverging, and we're getting a far larger increase in the working population than the economic growth suggests we should be having.
Should warrant it.
Should warrant it. So it bears looking into. But,
okay, let's try to grab one caller before we go to a break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Doc.
I thought you were going to have me holding on for the whole day.
Well, we hadn't opened up the phone lines. We hadn't indicated that, as well. And my apologies for that.
Good morning, Honorable Leader of Opposition and your deputy, too.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
I would just like to weigh in. I'm sorry that I don't have enough time to open a debate about some of the things you said. But just let me begin by saying quickly, one of the reasons why you have no information about Caymanian workers and staff, you have information about expatriate workers and things like that, is because there's no strategy and no end-driven policy about anything in this country, mostly immigration, number one. Everything is impulsive-driven, emotional reactions to complex problems. There's no policy. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing you can see A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 100 and say, I take this off. This is the policies has been completed. There's nothing. What we have here is mass rapid influx of people for short-term gain. Some of who could not care less about our culture, our history, and are becoming a threat to our existence. No policy about that at all. And what we're not taking into account is that most of our qualified, foreign-trained, gifted Caymanian people do not want and will not return to this country because they are unhappy and about what they see is the rapid demise of the Caymanian people, and so there's no policy about that. But just let me say this. I think the leader of the opposition said but nothing's going to happen between now and election and so forth. Of course nothing's going to happen between now and election because there's no policy to do anything. There's no end game that we're working towards. I find the whole thing deeply dishonest, really. And the problem that we have here, sir, Mr. For the Record and for your guests, is that we do not. As I said, there's no strategy, and what we should be doing, we should be looking at two of the most important metrics of our economic matrix in our society: the grocery store and the gas station. There's no debate about those. The high standard of living, there's no debate about that. Also, there's no debate about, if we come up to election, there's no debate about election contribution reforms, election contribution reform, money that people are obtaining to fight elections. There's no debate about that. Another thing that I find very, very, very disgusting and not very enlightening is the fact that from sitting in the legislature right now, in the parliament right now, is the electoral boundary report from last year, June. The governor has a copy. The parliament has a copy. Not a word about the recommendation that the electoral boundary commission made. No debate on whether they're going to accept the recommendations or not. I find that very, very disgusting. And as I told the governor, I did not expect that any movement would be made on that, any discussion made on that, with this administration or any other administration. Those things need to be done. You cannot have an electoral boundary commission give a report, and they're supposed to give them every 7 or 8 years, and then it just sits there, and nobody, not an MP or a member of cabinet or anybody will go in and say, let us look at this report, whether we are going to accept the recommendations made by the Electoral Boundary Commission, and stuff, things like that. What we have is a protracted policy at various administrations that's not in the best interest of the people in the eastern districts. Here we have all of this controversy about this road in eastern districts. There's no solution to that. Everybody just say, well, blah, blah. Here we have two government corporations fighting each other in court, which is absurd and should not happen. And the reason why there's nothing happening because the people in the eastern districts are not counted as well as much and are not recognized as important as the people in the western districts, where all the economic activity and the commercial activity happens. The people of the community that commuting to the eastern districts are ignored as and are not as significant because there's no economic activity. There's no significant, I would say, economic activity taking place within these rural communities. Our rural residents are not as important as those residents who live in the economic and the commercial central zone of the West. And the problem we have is that, can you imagine, they have to get up 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the West to work and go back. And then one thing, as I told the minister the other day, when we had the tsunami warning about the earthquake several years ago, I think it was 2 years ago now, people were trapped in their cars waiting to try to get out of town because of the road, the congestion in the road network. If a tsunami had happened, thousands of Caymanians would have been drowned, killed in their cars. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. And those are the things that people like yourselves, although you're in the opposition, you are sworn. You took an oath to be the trustees of the Caymanian people's public policy, but no one cares about it. And as long as we have
Caller, we have spoken about those issues on this show many times. I myself feel I have spoken about public transport, about the road system, and I still say that the National Development Plan is the foundation of all of those things for the future of our country. And I feel like I'm just talking to myself or to the wall. We have raised parliamentary questions. We have brought private member motions to the House. In fact, one of those motions was part of the downfall of the previous premier. So we have been hammering at this. We've been hammering at it in this show. We have been hammering at it in the House of Parliament. Unfortunately, we only get there about twice a year these days, but we have been hammering at it.
Mm-hmm. Caller, I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to that because we're past a commercial break, but go right ahead.
Everybody's been talking, but no action. That's the problem I find. So these profound dysfunctional policies have consistently resulted in the undermining of the achievements of the Caymanian people. We are being hurt in our underbelly. And the problem that we have is that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And the problem is that we were not going to be able to build more prisons out of it. We're not going to be able to immigrate out of it. I was shocked. And 2 years, and since in 2 years, the immigration work permit numbers have gone from 27,000 now to 38,000. I mean, what we are doing is we are bringing in people for long-term gain, and we're not thinking about the short-term gain. We're not thinking about the long-term existence of our own people.
Doc, sorry I have to interrupt you there, but we're 5 minutes beyond our commercial break. We do have another caller on hold as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
There is still time to register for the 2024 Deputy Governor's 5K Challenge. Upcoming races will be in Little Cayman on April 21st and Grand Cayman on April 28th. Registration is $25 for adults and $10 for children under 18. To register, visit www.racecaribbean.net. If you have any questions, you can email dg5k@gov.ky.
Hey Cayman, this is Pastor Alcini Banks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past, and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, Deputy Leader and Member of Parliament, Mr. Joey Hugh. We're going to take the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, Leader of the Opposition, and Deputy Leader.
Good morning.
Dr. Steve has covered a little bit of what I wanted to say, but I've got a little, to add to that. Now, you said that there is not likely to be any real hard policy changes before the elections. And I think you are right about that. Politicians always don't want controversial issues dealt with before then. They want the safer, easy, like the vote getters, if you like. We are not hearing anything from the government. That is also true. It's very quiet. It's only once in a while there is need, they feel sometimes to threaten the press. Maybe then we hear something about that, which is very, very disappointing. And again, you are right that there is need to balance this whole issue about immigration, job preferences, and be careful to ensure that it does not hurt the economy. But as one Jamaican friend of mine used to say, you should take it easy, but you should take it. But in Cayman, it is like it's being taken easy, and because it is important that we do the right thing, but nobody eventually does the right thing. They say in soccer that the good goalkeeper is the one who saves the goals that should be saved. because those that they have no chance to save, you don't judge them by that. You judge them by those they are able to save. And I think if you can apply that metaphor to government, a good government is that government which does those things that it can do. There are some things which are very difficult to do, and those sometimes you can give them a bit of a pass. And to me, successive governments have failed to do certain things that are not complicated and which don't risk the economy. In a few calls, to OC on the air, I've mentioned about the public service management law. Public service management law does not give Caymanians a real chance when they apply for a job, because it says that they will only be given preference if their qualifications are similar to, are close at the same level with somebody from outside. That doesn't give you an advantage. Every country in the world would say, if the Caymanian qualifies for the job, they should be given the job even if they've got somebody from the UK or elsewhere who is twice or three times more qualified. Why can't that be done? For example, also, you mentioned at the beginning about young lawyers coming back from being called to the bar or looking for articles. They can't get articles. That's ridiculous. Why can't the portfolio of legal affairs have a policy to say that every year they will take 4 or 5 or even 10 people on articles? What is the problem with that? They've got enough institutions there. They've got Financial Reporting Authority, the civil side, the criminal side, the DPP's office, and so on. Why can't those kinds of things be done? And then you put together the government put together this immigration committee. This immigration committee on the points system was supposed to release its report in September last year. And this is about 6-7 months later. There is nothing that is happening. I believe the meetings are not taking place. But meanwhile, people are taking it easy to say that this is going to be fixed. So let me end with a question. Where, as politicians, do you see Cayman in the next 20 years? At the moment, as Caymanians, you are only about 28% indigenous Caymanians. If you add the status holders, that's when you get to about 46%. But indigenous Caymanians, you are down to 28%. You've been losing percentage by something about 1 or 2 points percentage in the workplace and in the society. Now, where I see Cayman in 20 years is that as indigenous Caymanians, you have more or less disappeared from the workplace, more or less disappeared from the society. So what I want to ask you is, where do you see Cayman in the next 20 years, and what do you think has to be done? It's not enough it's not enough to say, well, it's important, we have to do it. Where do you see Cayman in those years, and what do you think has to be done to maintain the preference of Caymanians in government, the workplace, as well as in the society? I thank you very much for the time.
Thank you very much, caller. Ms. Susan, we're going to take that last commercial break now as well. We hope that we're not sure whether or not we will be able to accommodate any more callers because we have some closing comments and some other issues to that our panelists want to raise as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Hey, K-Man, this is Pastor Alcini Banks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past, and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit Christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
Are you a creator or inventor? Want to legally protect your work? Be known for it? How about make money from it? Wouldn't that be awesome? Cayman is celebrating intellectual property this month, leading up to World Intellectual Property Day on April 26th. But don't wait to join the celebration. Learn how to get your patent, trademark, design, or copyright registered today by visiting the Cayman Islands Intellectual Property Office website at ciipo.ky.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. I'm going to squeeze this WhatsApp message in here. This came in earlier. The person wanted to know when pensioners and truly ex-seafarers can expect to get their $1,500 per month that was promised. If you can answer that, I believe you may have answered it on a previous show in your response also to the callers that we had previously.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, I would just say they need to speak with people from the government, the ministers from the government, as to when these things are going to be taking place. Mm-hmm. I've had questions again, and another gentleman just contacted me about it as well, and this last week, and I said I would make some inquiries with regard to it as to what was happening and when this was likely to take place, and I intended to deal with that. But as I was off island last week and haven't really had a chance to take it yet. But if those who are entitled to it still aren't getting it, then we have a problem, mm-hmm. and so we will take it up and see where we can go to.
Okay, and the other question had to do with where do you see us in 20 years?
20 years' time. I hope a harmonious and prosperous country, one that continues to develop in a way that benefits us all, and that we can continue the peace and harmony that exists in Cayman is unparalleled to me in any other place in the world, mm-hmm. With 130, 140 different nationalities in here. And, we all get on. I'd like to see that continue. I would like to see the country continue to grow and provide opportunities for Caymanians. And I'd like to see Caymanians be successful in their own country.
And I agree with the leader there. And when we speak about indigenous Caymanians, I mean, what is a qualification for indigenous Cayman? Because I feel that Caymanian, being a Caymanian is a way of life. It's the way you are. My father, I'm the son of an immigrant. My father, born in Jamaica to a Chinese father, is as Caymanian as you can get, because that is who he is. Mm-hmm. You know, and, you know, for anyone to tell any one of the kids walking around that one of their parents are immigrants, or even most of the kids I meet that both of their parents are immigrants, and you tell them they're born in Cayman and grew up here, you try to tell them they're not Caymanian. You know, you try to tell them you're not Caymanian. And it's, you know, there's a little thing called love and marriage and stuff like that. That's how we, you know, that's how a population of people can grow. It's not a breeding program. We can't put together a breeding program to ensure that we have purebred Caymanians.
I think, though, when many people refer to using the term indigenous Caymanians, I don't think that they're necessarily excluding persons who may have one parent who's
but that's what I'm asking.
Non-Caymanian. I think they're more than anything else looking at how long they have been in the Cayman Islands, what they have
contributed
and stuff like that, and what their expectations are as a result of their past connections with the Cayman Islands.
But I think that needs defining, and so that we all know what we're speaking of. When you talk about somebody being indigenous, I'm thinking somebody who's been living here, whose family roots have been back here in the Cayman Islands for maybe a century or whatever. But so we need to define what we mean when we talk about somebody being an indigenous Caymanian, because that can have different connotations to different people.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, OC. OC, before we go off on a tangent, I did want to raise one very important matter, and that is the licensing agreement for the Central Scranton Park right here behind the government administration building. The Central Scranton Committee has always been a very active committee, hosting seniors events, Mother's Day, Father's Day, sporting events, you name it. And we, the previous administration, being ourselves, purchased the property that they used to hold the events on and some surrounding properties. And out of caution, because we said we don't know who's going to be the next government or government in the future, we actually signed a 5-year lease agreement with the Central Scranton Committee for the park. The representative for Central Scranton now, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, have taken it even further, and we have supported. He has kept us abreast. He has kept the Central Scranton Committee abreast of all of his plans, and they've been involved in the entire process. And we, the other Georgetown representatives, he has kept us informed, and we have supported him thus far, as long as the relationship continues with the Central Scranton Committee. Now, I understand the lease is expiring on May 31st, and it is now going to caucus, but the lease is under the lands, with Lands and Survey, not with Minister Bryan in tourism, who's been spearheading, out of his ministry, spearheading the redevelopment of the park. We want to say here and now, right now, despite all of the great plans that it has evolved to, the intention, the initial intention was for that park to remain with the Central Scranton Committee for the use of the people in Central Scranton and the greater Central Georgetown area. And we will be watching closely over the next coming weeks to see what happens with that lease. We would like and encourage and ask the government to please renew that lease at least for another 5 years. The assets that will be built in the park, if and when built, you can have separate agreements for those. But we, the opposition and the representatives from Georgetown, would like to ask the government to renew the lease for another 5 years, and we strongly encourage them to do so. And we know that Minister Bryan also supports renewing the lease for another 5 years.
So is there a possibility that something else may occur in terms of the lease, that it may go to some other entity? There
is a possibility that they may not renew the lease and government takes control of the park.
And then
put
take
it under
control of developing it as well?
Well, they're already developing it, but that was a concern of the Central Scranton Committee. With all this development, will they lose the control and use of the park?
Yes, yes.
And it was always envisioned that the development would be for them to continue to have a say and to have the use of the park. And like I said, the assets they build there, when and if they build assets, those can be managed separately. They can be managed by facilities management or parks and rec, whatever, but we would like to see the relationship continue with the Central Scranton Committee.
Yeah. I want to go back very quickly. I was just thinking about this on the generational Caymanian thing. You know, if we were to use the proper definition of generational and going back to the original inhabitants, I believe that you might be able to count on one hand the number of Caymanians who fall within that particular category now as well. I mean, I would use myself as an example, you know, in relation to that. My grandparents came from former slaves. When people started to migrate, my father's mother went to Honduras with him. Not with him, came back with him. He was born in Honduras. So here I am, 73 years old, right? And if we use the classic definition of generational Caymanian, I may not be a generational Caymanian myself. And again, I think it has a lot to do with whether or not people feel that they belong. Yeah. And they have a right to feel that way, not because they have come here and invested money, not because they have come here and they have necessarily taught in our schools or created law firms, but have much more skin in the game than that. You know, I just wanted to add that to it. Gentlemen, I want to give you both an opportunity.
It's a way of life, and it's something that we all should fight to keep alive, because that is what makes us special.
I want to give both of you an opportunity for some final words. And if you know anybody who's celebrating a birthday in your constituency that you may have missed, you may want to cover that as well, because we have one request here to Beverly Veronica Wilson. Happy birthday, belated birthday to her, Beverly Veronica Wilson, coming from Joel and the rest of the family. Okay, great. Gentlemen, over to you.
Well, since OC, I was last on here, I celebrated a birthday.
Belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Just over about a week, 10 days ago. But I appreciate the opportunity to be here again this morning. OC, I didn't get a chance to get through everything that we had planned to speak about. One topic I wanted to bring up and to have a bit of a discussion on is the Housing Development Trust, because in my capacity as chair of the Public Accounts Committee, I have been hearing things with regard to the operation of the trust, and I wanted to raise it, and I'm going to be raising it with the Auditor General. But I think it's something a topic that I want to pursue, and I won't say anything really now in terms of what it is, because I don't want to say very much about it.
And then there's still a pending court case in relation to that as well, which I think, based on the news, the Justice Cheryl Richards is likely to, she was given her jury instructions, and once that is completed, then I guess the jury will, convene.
So hopefully maybe next time I'm here we get some time to talk about it as well. So I'm glad to have been here again and look forward to being back here.
Mr. Hugh, anything from you?
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I will be off island week after next, unfortunately. But looking forward to being back, and just to say I wish everyone out there a pleasant rest of your day, and have a wonderful evening, and enjoy the little breeze that I felt this morning some cooler weather after the last few hot days. Looking forward to coming back again, OC.
Okay, I want to thank all those listeners and those persons who participated as well. I want to apologize for those who were unable to get through on the telephone lines or who may have been on hold and unable to express their views. I know you're going to give me hell for it, but I have broad shoulders and I can explain why. And I'll start by simply saying, when you have a show that is 2.5 hours in length, and you have so many things that you want to discuss, and you have so many persons who want to get their opinions across. And of course, we do encourage people, send your WhatsApp messages, email us as well. That makes life easier for me to try to squeeze them in, sideways sometimes as well. But we are certainly glad that you have an interest, that you have concerns, and we will continue to try to give you this platform to be able to express your views and your concerns as well. I encourage you to continue to support Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
This is the People's Radio Station.